Hi, this is Tony, and in today's video we're going to talk about the benefits of worm castings as fertilizer for your garden and how to take leaves from your backyard and go from this to this in as little as 90 days. And if you are interested in an actual visual demonstration of the benefits of worm castings, I've got a experiment I'm recording with beans and tomatoes with varying percentage of worm castings in the soil mix. So hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss those updates. My red wiggler composting worms are kept in an outdoor bin, and they were started off with a pretty equal mix of coconut coir for moisture retention, shredded cardboard, and leaves from the backyard. And then we throw in kitchen scraps for them to eat as well. I started off with 5,000 composting worms, and there's probably about 10,000 in there now. For harvesting the worm castings, I just took a 1/4-inch mesh screen over a bucket and used that to sort out particles that were small enough to be usable for the garden that I'm starting out right now. Typically, we're going to wait about 6 to 12 months for them to produce an adequate amount of worm castings for an entire garden. But since I'm just getting my garden started, it's a good time to go ahead and pull out a little bit just to top dress the vegetables we have starting now. Unlike cow manure, this has no smell, and you can just see how rich and dark that is. This is how they look in their day-to-day environment, and before we get to top dressing the garden, we're going to go ahead and give them some new leaves to work on for the next few months. It is March here in Texas, and we still have leaves coming off the trees by the bagful. So I vacuumed some up today, and we're going to go ahead and dump about 6 inches worth in each bin. It's also good for them to have some grit for digestion, so we're going to throw a couple handfuls of sand in with those leaves, and then we'll mix everything up with some water to make sure it's nice and moist. While we certainly don't want to waterlog the worm bin, we do need to make sure that these leaves are nice and moist to aid in them breaking down and make them easier for the worms to start eating. And with this quantity of leaves, that will take about 2 to 4 gallons of water. Once the water is added, then I'll go ahead and just mix all of that up and check and make sure that everything is entirely soaked on the top with all the new leaves that we added in. And add more water in as necessary on the top. And then the final step is just putting some burlap or cardboard bags on top just to help retain that moisture inside the bin. And for the next year, we'll just keep on doing this every couple weeks, adding in leaves, shredded cardboard, and scraps from the kitchen. Vegetables and fruit are awesome. When you're first planting, these worm castings are ideal to put in the hole when you pot the plant, but since I already had these planted, we're going to do a little top dressing on each one and then lightly mix it into the soil. Worm castings have a relatively low amount of organic nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium that is released slowly over about a 2-month period. What really makes them shine, though, is that about half the content is comprised of microorganisms, which break down organic material in the soil and make nutrients available to the plant, which stimulate the growth of roots and branches, which they contain, which help fight off fungal and bacterial diseases. What I'm top dressing today is a variety of cucumbers, squash, green peppers, and tomatoes. And I will be providing some updates in the coming weeks as to how these plants are doing. But what I'm really excited about is the visual experiment that we're doing with the green bean and tomato seeds. This picture is from about a week ago, and they're already starting to sprout, so we'll have some updates here shortly. But what I did was take a standard potting soil mix and mixed in by volume 5, 10, and 20% worm castings into the soil. We will check in every week or 10 days on the comparison of how these plants are growing with the different amounts of worm castings. If you're already a subscriber, hit that bell icon so you don't miss those updates. And if you're not, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. If you are interested in making your own free organic fertilizer, I do have a quick video on how to set up your own worm bin. Click on the link above and it'll show you everything you need to know to get started. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them below.